Hey fam, welcome back. Hopefully you guys are doing good and having a great day. If you're not, please let me know what I can do to help you. Until then, what I want to talk with you guys about today is not caring about what people think of you. So, whether you are people pleasing or you are chasing validation, ultimately you are putting someone else's thoughts about you on a pedestal, right? And you are not caring about your own self esteem. And so, that is a massive, massive problem, internal problem that you are going to have to fix. Right. So hopefully I can help you fix that. So I used to be a people pleaser. I used to care so much more about what other people feel, what other people thought of me. And so when it came to confrontation, oftentimes I would shut down. I would shut down. Um, I grew up around domestic violence. I grew up around drug, alcohol abuse, and um, oftentimes when it came to confrontation, I would just shut down. And so my body got used to that. It was a trauma response, right? Um, and so I would shut down, and I would look for any way to people please, right? Well, I would say those were my earlier years. When it came to high school, I began to become more aggressive, right? So didn't grow up the best, right? And a lot of those responses, knee jerk reactions, right? It's just something that becomes ingrained in you. And a lot of times, most of us don't even realize what we're doing when we're doing it because we don't really take a step back and try to understand ourselves. Well, here's the thing, when you are just reacting in a way that, isn't appropriate, right, for the situation, hence the reason why you're watching the video, something's wrong, something has to be fixed. What you really have to do is you have to try to understand why it is that you're doing what you're doing, right? Why is it that I am people pleasing? Why is it that I'm chasing validation? And oftentimes those are very, very hard conversations that you have to have with yourself. But you have to have it because until you do, you're going to be stuck in this pit repeating the same mistakes, right? So, used to people please, right? I used to just shut down and then look for a way to make someone else happy so that the situation can de-escalate. Well, you may think you are de-escalating the situation by pleasing someone else who is upset with you, but you are just doing the exact opposite. You're doing the exact opposite because what that person is getting from you is weakness, and people sense weakness very easily, especially women. So the more weakness you present, the more people will punish you for being weak and taking advantage of you. Okay. So you have to be very careful about that. If you ever wonder why people are asking more and more and more, let's say first they were asking maybe $5 and then $10 and now it's $20. There's a pattern there, right? Because you're just giving without really understanding why it is they're asking what they are, and then trying to assess the situation and understand if they are just trying to take advantage of you or not. Listen, everyone today is struggling, especially economically, right? We all know mental health we all know there's a crisis with mental health today, but there's an even worse crisis when it comes to finances, people's finances. And so it's kind of the norm for people to just borrow money from each other. I've had to give to my neighbors, I've had to take from my neighbors. It is what it is. But if someone is asking and asking and asking and never giving back, that becomes a massive problem, right? So you gotta take a look at this stuff. What is happening around me, right? That people are coming to me for, and are they giving? Every relationship is a give and take. And if you are the one that is just giving and never receiving anything, you are people pleasing. You are being taken advantage of. Okay. And I had to learn that. And I had to learn that several times. Okay. Listen, you don't learn one lesson once and you're good for the rest of your life. No, you learn one lesson over and over and over again, just in different ways. Okay. And so I had to learn this lesson over and over and over and over again when it came to people pleasing until until it finally clicked with me. It finally clicked with me. Who gives a fuck about what someone else thinks of me, especially when I tell them no? And that's a good test right there. Tell them no. No. Hey man, you need $5. No. No. Watch the reaction. If the reaction is, okay, well I appreciate it, man. I'll figure something out. You you can very possibly trust that person. But if they have a very negative reaction, you got to cut that motherfucker off. You got to cut that person off. So, um, in my situation, it came with, well, I mean, it's disrespect all the same, but I've had people make plans and then back out and then apologize for it, and then I would be like, oh no, it's fine, man, whatever. I got tired of that. I got so fucking tired of that. So done. I got fed up with people's bullshit. It's pretty much all it is. I got fed up with people's bullshit. I would much rather take, because I have enough on my plate, right? I already have enough of a headache with my finances, with my own mental health. I've got enough on my plate. I don't need you adding to it. Okay, so it's better to just cut you off because all you are is a headache, and to save myself, future headaches, right? That's what it is. You are defending yourself. You are protecting yourself. Okay. And that is self-love. Sometimes you have to kick someone out of your life to protect yourself. Okay. Sometimes you got to walk away. And that's just life. I've had to walk away from a lot of people, my own mother included. Okay. So listen, sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do, but you have to do it. Okay. I'm not telling you to walk away from family, right? Uh, unless they're doing something like uh, something that warrants you walking away. Okay. My example, my mother kicked me out of her own home to save her marriage. Okay. And that is something that I cannot have around me. Okay. Something I can't. Now, I could have stayed with my brother at the time. But, when you call your brother up and he starts yelling at you and blaming you for everything that's going on, you really don't want to be in that environment anyways. So, toxicity. You do not want toxicity. And you don't want people around you that's going to bring toxicity to you. Okay? You want a healthy environment to where you can learn and grow. And so, you got to protect that. You have to protect that. And you're not doing that by people pleasing. You're inviting more and more and more of it into your life when you are people pleasing. Okay. So, I learned that. Stop caring about what people think about you. The only thing that really matters is what you think of you. You know who you are. You know who you are. You are with you 24/7. You are the only one that looks at you in the mirror and knows who you are every single day. So you would better try to understand yourself and love yourself as much as possible. Protect yourself above all else. Chasing validation. Oh, this one's a rough one. So, chasing validation, I used to chase a lot of a validation, or I used to chase a lot of validation, a lot. I mean, a lot, guys. After my divorce, and this is going to pertain mainly to women, um, I was massively, massively out of what I should have been, right? Um, I should have been focusing on myself, bettering myself, right, and working to build a future for myself. That's what I should have done. Instead, I focused solely on women. I had lost something because when I got with my wife, or my ex-wife, my wife at the time, I wanted to be a father. I wanted to be something that I had never had too much of, right? A good father figure. Now, I respect and I revere my grandfather. He was a Vietnam vet. I love him to death. Um, but I'm talking about a father figure. Okay, I'm not talking about a grandfather. Now he was a good father figure, or a father figure, but he wasn't around 24/7, right? Um, he wasn't a main impact on uh, my upbringing, right? And like I said, I grew up around you know domestic violence, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and uh, I knew what it was like to uh, be a bad man, right? I knew what a bad man was. The thing is, I didn't know what a strong, capable man was. Okay, a good man, right? I had no idea what that was, and so it took some time, even after my divorce, to really figure that out. Um, but in between the divorce, well, I mean, even in the marriage, um, was definitely chasing validation, and then and quite some time after that, I was still chasing validation. Listen, if you have to chase validation for someone that you married, that relationship is already over, especially when it comes to women. Especially when it comes to women. Like I said, with people pleasing about weakness, it's the same thing for validation. You become needy, right? And that's very unattractive, especially in men. And again, women can see that from a mile away. And so if you try your hardest to gain approval from women, they're going to understand instinctively that you do not have any confidence in yourself. And that's one of the biggest things that women look for is confidence. So they're going to take advantage of you and pass you on by. Right. I used to check my phone for messages like every 5 minutes. I used to get on all kinds of dating apps. I mean, it was bad, guys. It was bad. I used to scan the room to see who was looking at me. You know, make eye contact with someone and look away. You know, um, talk to whoever, and that gets old after a while. It, it gets old after a while, man. It really does. And it's not that I really had any trouble with women per se, because I don't really. It's just that there was something within me that was missing, right? See, when you realize that when you chase validation, you're not chasing what someone thinks of you, right? Subconsciously, you are trying to find something that you have lost, right? A piece of me was gone, and I needed to find that piece. And I thought that was in women, but it's not. It was within me the whole time. See, the same time I was divorced, I was also kicked out of the Air Force for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. And I took a lot of pride in my service. I was proud to put on a uniform, not because of the military, because the military is a joke, but I was proud of me, you know, that I went through basic, that I went to Korea, I went to Germany, right? I I went halfway across the globe on both ways, right? Um, and I took a lot of pride in that. But when I was kicked out and I was thinking that I wasn't going to be a father, I wasn't going to be a husband, I lost something that I longed for, right? Purpose, drive. That's what I needed to find. And I eventually found that through YouTube, right? So oftentimes when you are chasing validation, especially with women, you don't have that drive, that purpose. Every man that is on his purpose, on his drive for something other than women, is a man that is going to go far. But the purpose has to be for yourself, cannot be for anyone else. It cannot be for anyone else. So that is going to breed strength. And people are insanely drawn to strength, especially in a society today where most people are so weak. And by you searching for yourself, right? Soul searching, understanding yourself, repairing yourself, you learn a lot of lessons and you become wise, and people need that. People need that. So again, this isn't about yourself though. This is about you. Okay? This is about you. Now, what I will say is that my drive, my purpose is serving others, right? Again, it's not people pleasing, but this is something that I love to do. Okay. Um, when I help you, I help myself, right? Because I love to teach. Um, I love to do the things that I do, right? My dioramas, painting miniatures, making music. I love doing all of that stuff, right? And so everything that I do now, I do for myself. So, when I started YouTube, I was definitely challenged. I was absolutely, I mean, you're going to be, but, I was absolutely challenged, right? and people would challenge me all the time. People still challenge me, and that's not going to stop. But people challenged me, right? And I really stopped caring very, very quickly what a lot of people had to say. Now, of course, I do respond to, or I try to respond to every single comment that is left on my videos or my posts or shorts or whatnot. But I really, I love to see, the good comments, right? Everyone hates to see the bad comments. A lot of people don't respond to them. I do. Don't really care either way if you happen to have a negative, view or argument or whatnot of me. I don't care, but I definitely will respond to that, right? So again, it's I know who I am. I understand myself. I'm continuing to work on myself, repair, or at least try to repair, work to repair the, I guess, cracks within my own soul. And I do that through all the things that I do, right? Turn away from validation, turn away from people pleasing, turn inward instead of external, right? Turn internal and focus on you. Focus on you. Try to understand why it is that you're behaving the way that you are behaving. Figure out what it is that you have to do to then progress and grow and be, or work every single day to be the best version of yourself that you could be, right? Still overweight, but I was a lot more, or a lot heavier, right? Than I, wasn't well, no. Um, I used to weigh 230, 240, right? At 5'9", that's pretty overweight, and I've dropped quite a bit of weight, quite a bit of weight, and there's still a lot more to go. But instead of looking at myself in the morning and just picking out things that I didn't like about myself, instead I would choose to find things that I really like about myself, and I would encourage myself to keep going. Right? Come on, let's go to the gym. Because look, listen, as men especially, you got to be fit. Listen, both men and women have to be fit, but especially for men, right? We are the ones that have to get violent if it calls for it. Okay, we are the ones that protect and provide, so we absolutely have to be ready for that. But I realized, don't tear yourself down. Encourage yourself to do better every single day. Now, your boy been slacking. Not on nutrition, not on nutrition. I'm still eating my meal prep, so that's great. But the physical aspect, and look, there's a good reason for that. My disabilities are continuing to get worse, so it's making it harder, to get out. Matter of fact, my body's hurting me right now, but it, it's becoming harder to get out and exercise like I need to. Anyways, um, it's about self love, right? You need to start loving yourself. Find ways to love yourself. Okay, whether that's picking up new hobbies. Uh, Again, I have so many. I used to build Gundam. I don't really do so much of that anymore, just because I'm so busy. I'm also working on my own projects too. So, um, but making music, making videos for you guys. Um, I mean, it's all kinds of stuff, right? Don't, don't look for external things, please. Please don't. Okay. Uh, don't go and smoke weed. Don't go and drink. Don't go and watch anime all day, video games all day. Don't do any of that shit. Okay. Don't do any of that. For one, it's not internal. It's not, and I'll tell you why. I used to play Ark Survival Evolved for 8 to 12 hours a day when I had the time. Right. When I had days off of work, I would game the entire day. Okay. It got to a point to where I was literally asking myself, what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. Why not put the kind of effort that I'm putting into Ark Survival Evolved into something else that I can build a future on? And that's exactly what I'm doing with my dioramas. I have an Etsy. I do have inventory, but I also am taking um, commissions. Okay, I've already done a commission, and you guys can look at my shorts because I actually posted on a short, but I've already done a commission, and I'm taking more commissions. So if you guys want to commission me for a diorama, um, just let me know. We'll get in touch. But um, I began to apply things in different ways, and that built my confidence, right? And that also built my self love. So you got to build that up, right? When you build the self love up, the self respect, right, the confidence, all of the people pleasing goes away. All of the chasing validation goes away. Goes away because you are validating yourself. Just matter of fact, um, and I'm actually just about to release my new diorama video. I tried something new, right, for the first time for my dioramas, and I was a little intimidated, right, to start, but I just got into it. I figured I'd give it my best shot, and if it turned out how it turns out, then it turns out how it turns out, right? I gave it a shot, and it I think it turned out pretty good, pretty good. And so you guys will be the judge of that when it comes out. But um, I have had people tell me it looks amazing, right? Again, not that I uh, care if it was positive or negative, but that I didn't care so much that it was over what I thought about myself, right? So get into new things, get into new things, become good at those things, build your confidence, build your self love, and have those hard conversations that you have to have with yourself. Okay. Because only then you begin to understand who you really are. We may think we know who we are when times are good, but when we are in the depths of absolute despair is when we find out who we really are. So it's better to do that sooner than later. So build yourself, love yourself, then you'll stop the people pleasing and you'll stop the validation. Validate yourself, not anyone else. All right. Well, hopefully that helped you out. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, join the family. I try to help you guys out as much as possible. So, um, that being said, please, 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 please take care of yourselves, both mind and body. Okay. Both mind and body. Take care of each other. I love you all. I wish you a lovely night. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.